Earlier, I had asked you whether it's possible to live well in a society where other people can legally extract money from you forcefully. And you had answered that you could not live well in such a society. But
I thought you were talking about armed robbery.
Yeah, I
now
understand.
you're really talking about
right,
taxes.
Right. I'm talking about using the government to do the same thing.
But your definition of taxation is forcefully extracting.
Well, we agreed that taxes are not voluntary contributions. Therefore,
they are not. They are the result of the democratic process.
Right. So earlier you had said that you thought that you could not live well in a society where other people can legally gang up on you and forcefully take your money. So, have you changed your mind, and you don't think that you can't? You think you can live well in such a society?
People do.
You think that
you're talking about the United States?
Yeah. You think that that's the
You're living well
right.
in this country,
exactly.
in a country where we do what you're talking about.
Right.
And I don't notice that you're doing so badly.
Right. What I'm trying to do. Well,
so you are living well in this
maybe
society.
I should use a different
you
word.
might not
maybe
be living as well as
right.
you might.
Well, let me put it to you this way. Can you live optimally in a society where other people can gang up on you and legally extract money from you? In this sense of, forming certain coalitions of pressure groups and special interest groups, they can organize and then they can extract as much money as they want from you. You think that is the optimum kind of system?
I think that in a society you make trade-offs all the time. You never live optimally in anything.
Yeah,
in marriage
I agree
or
with that.
in any
what would be
social
the optimum
situation.
Political structure? Would that be the optimum political structure? That's a popular democracy. And means anything goes. Majority rule on anything,
right.
Anything goes.
And it's a fight every day.
But is that the best system, or is a constitutional republic where there's a limit on what the government can do and what it can't do, and whether it can forcefully extract money for any reason, or does it have to be only for services rendered to the taxpayers? Which of those two systems do you think is better?
I don't know all the nuances of what you're suggesting, but the fact is that you have got a system in which, if you are represented, you can put this business of putting constitutional limits. I hear what you're saying about taxation. Okay, suppose the tax structure you impose is a sales tax, and suddenly everybody loses their job, or 30% of the people lose their job. So there is no sales tax. Now we have no fire department, we have no police department, we have no roads, we have no schools.
We'd have less.
Less?
No.
I see, and that would be a good, or would you think raising the rate on those who are working was in the best interest of everybody? And if you want uneducated people, and you've had people lose their jobs, so there's no sales tax from which to fund the schools, I think we're better off in raising the taxes so that we can all live in this society. Because optimally, you can't live optimally in a society in which everybody's not educated, or you're not attempting to educate them. Because if you have ignorance...
Was there public education when the Founding Fathers created our basic system of government, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution? Do you think they were educated and they did a good job, or you don't think so?
They realized it wasn't going to work the way they were doing it, and that's Thomas Jefferson. A democracy is based on an educated electorate. If you don't educate the electorate, you can't have a democracy.
Right, but they were very educated. In fact, they were...
The ones on top, but they ultimately set up a common school system.
The people in general, not until the latter part of the 19th century. Most education was private until the latter part of the 19th century. And even in the beginning of the 20th century, there was mostly private education.
Public schools have been an evolutionary thing. We've come to understand more and more. If you're going to live in any other way than farming, when we started out, we were all farmers. Well, what do you need? What education do you need, or did you need, for subsistence farming? Very little. But as the society got more and more complicated, you had to educate people about things they didn't know anything about, or they couldn't deal with it. And education has been both a driver for change in this society, but it has also been the support for making the society work.
Well, let's ask a few questions about what is the optimum social contract, because actually that's basically what we've been talking about. What is the optimum social contract? And I'd like to ask you a personal question. Who would you rather deal with? Someone who would never forcefully extract money from you, you know, your friends, your business associates, that kind of person, or somebody who, if the majority thought it was okay, would forcefully extract money from you?
Well, that's Hobson's choice.
No.
You want a world in which
neither of those are good choices.
Well, I would like to live in a society where I had free lunch. I never had to give anything to make the society work.
I'm asking you about when you choose your friends.
Oh, I see, my friends.
Yes, your friends and your business associates. Would you like to surround yourself with people that will always respect your rights and would never forcefully extract money from you, or would you prefer to deal with people that, if the majority thought it was okay, would forcefully extract money from you?
I'd choose the second.
You choose the second?
Yes.
People that, if the majority thought it was okay,
Yep.
would forcefully extract money from you?
Right.
Well, you're very consistent, because that's the kind of government that you prefer. When you go to choose a government...
I wouldn't run for office and get elected and participate in this if I didn't think that's the way it worked.
So what is the essential difference between a decent, responsible citizen and an armed robber?
What is the
What is the essential difference between a decent, responsible citizen and an armed robber?
Well, if all your friends and neighbors sit down and make a decision in a societal manner and decide that someone should pay something into the process, that is a civilized society. If I stick a gun in your ribs and take your wallet, that is not a civilized society.
Right.
And we're talking about a civil society in which everybody has a chance to live in a decent way. You're positive.
That's very interesting, and you expressed that before, so I think we got that clear. But what I was asking you was, what is the essential difference between a decent, responsible citizen and an armed robber? How would you describe the basic difference between these two individuals, these two kinds of people?
The armed robber has no concern about my rights whatsoever.
Right. And decent, responsible citizen would not forcefully extract money from you, but an armed robber would. Right?
Decent,
responsible citizen, you know, your average decent, responsible citizen would not forcefully extract money from you. Would they?
You keep posing it
You think
as
they would?
somebody extracting.
Well, taking or using force or threatening force to get...
Well, you have to have, in order to run the society, you have to have money. Now,
I'm not talking about society at this
we
moment.
could make it a collection plate, like at church. We could just pass a plate around the neighborhood and say, everybody put in what you figure you ought to.
I'm asking you at an individual level, what is the difference between the decent, responsible citizen...
You can't talk on the individual level.
We can't?
No, you've got to talk on a societal level.
Well, we can talk about
as
individual
individuals
level and
in a society.
Level. We can talk both levels, can't we?
What's that?
It's a free country. We can talk about either level, right?
What I mean is that makes no sense to talk of individuals, because you cannot solve the problems of a society and say each individual can do whatever he or she wants.
Right. But well, let me ask you this: would you agree that a decent, responsible citizen would not forcefully extract money from you?
If by that you mean armed robbery, I would say yes, I agree with you.
They would not do that.
They would not do that.
So, and you would agree that that's wrong, right?
Yes.
So,
but I don't think the tax collector falls into that category.
Okay, but why would you like to surround yourself by people that are willing to do that?
To do what?
To forcefully extract money from you.
Because I don't see it as a armed robbery, as you do. You view the tax collector as an armed robber.
No, I don't. Only when they're taking from you in order to give to somebody else. When they're just paying for services that they're rendering to you, they're not armed robbers. They're just collecting the money owed for the service provided.
Okay, here's the example we should use then.
Okay.
Medicare. They are extracting money from you on a monthly basis into the Medicare fund. You don't get a darn thing back.
Right.
You may never collect anything. Right. You may die before you reach 65.
Right.
So, we've extracted money from you, and you're not getting anything for it. So, Why? Well, where's the fairness? We shouldn't be We should be extracting it from those old people who are over 65.
It's a wealth transfer from the young to the old.
Yes, it is. Right.
Is that morally correct?